I was pregnant with his baby, but he was sleeping with my sister. It was a chilly Thursday morning in October when I stared down at the pregnancy test. 2 pink lines. I sat on the bathroom floor in shock, my heart pounding, hands trembling. I was 26. He was 28. We had talked about a future, about kids, a home, even baby names. We weren't perfect, but I believed we were real. His name was Mark, and I loved him in a way I didn't know could hurt later. I waited until dinner that night to tell him. Made his favorite pasta. Lit candles. I wanted the moment to be special. He walked in tired, phone in hand, distracted, but when I gave him the little box with the test inside, he froze. "Are you serious?" he asked, voice low. I nodded, smiled. "We're going to be parents." He kissed me, held me, said all the right things. And in that moment, I believed we were in this together. I had no idea that he'd been sleeping with someone else for almost 5 months. And that someone was my sister, Hannah. Hannah and I had always been close. Not best friends, but sisters in every sense. She was 2 years younger than me, wild-spirited, always chasing drama and adrenaline. I was the calm one, the fixer, the listener. She stayed with us occasionally when her roommates got on her nerves. Mark and I had a spare room, and I believed in helping family. I should have seen the signs. The shared looks. The way their conversations grew longer and quieter when I walked in. The sudden tension whenever I mentioned the baby. Mark started staying out late. "Work's hectic," he'd say. Client calls. Deadlines. And I, trusting and pregnant, wanted to believe him. Hormones made me emotional. I thought maybe I was imagining things. But it all unraveled one Sunday afternoon. I was doing laundry when his phone buzzed on the counter. He was in the shower. Normally, I wouldn't look. But something about the screen caught my eye, a message preview from H. "I can't stop thinking about last night. I wish I could hold you again." My heart sank. I opened the message thread, hands shaking. "She's asleep in the next room. You should have kissed me goodbye. I love her, but this feels real. I hate sneaking around, but I hate being without you more." Then I saw the name, Hannah. My sister. I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred. I dropped the phone like it burned me. When he came out of the shower, I was waiting, phone in hand, eyes full of tears. His face went pale. "It's not what it looks like," he said. That phrase. That pathetic phrase. I laughed, loud, bitter, broken. "Tell me, Mark, how do you explain sleeping with my sister while I'm carrying your child?" He stood there, dripping, silent. No excuse. No apology. Just a man exposed for what he really was. I stormed out, drove straight to my mother's house, where Hannah was staying that weekend. She opened the door, confused. "Hey, how long?" I spat. She froze. "I know everything. The messages. The lies. How long have you been sleeping with my boyfriend?" Her eyes welled up. "I didn't mean for it to happen. He came on to me. We were drunk. It was just supposed to be once. Spare me," I cut in. "You don't trip and fall into someone's bed for 5 months." She reached for me. I stepped back. "I'm carrying his baby, Hannah. Your niece or nephew. How could you do this to me?" She cried. But I didn't. Not anymore. I walked away that day and didn't look back. The next few months were dark. I moved out. Found a small apartment with peeling paint and creaky floors, but it was mine. Peaceful. Safe. I cut ties with both of them. Blocked their numbers. Ignored their messages, voicemails, apologies. Mark tried to claim he wanted to step up as a father. I didn't trust him to hold a goldfish, let alone a baby. I leaned on therapy, on new mom groups, on quiet strength I didn't know I had. I started journaling. Writing gave me clarity, helped me rebuild my identity beyond pain. When my baby girl, Ellie, was born, everything changed. She had my eyes, my mouth, and unfortunately, Mark's nose. But every time I looked at her, I didn't see betrayal. I saw freedom, a second chance, a reason to be better, not bitter. A year later, I ran into Hannah at a coffee shop. She looked different, tired. Her smile cracked when she saw Ellie in my arms. "She's beautiful," she whispered. I nodded, said nothing. "I'm sorry," she said, voice shaking. "Not just for what I did, but for how long it took me to realize what I lost." "I forgave you a while ago," I replied. "But forgiveness doesn't mean you get a seat at my table again." She nodded slowly, eyes filling. "I understand." And just like that, I walked away again, lighter this time. Now, 2 years later, Ellie is thriving. She loves to run barefoot in the grass, say no like a pro, and sing lullabies in her own little language. She doesn't know what I went through to bring her into this world. And she won't, not until she's old enough to understand that strength is born in silence and in storms. I don't regret loving Mark. I don't regret trusting Hannah. Because without those heartbreaks, I wouldn't have this clarity, this fire, this little girl who calls me mama and gives me the purest form of love. I was pregnant with his baby, but he was sleeping with my sister. And somehow, I still won. Because they lost me. But I found myself. Despite everything, Mark tried to come back into our lives, first with flowers, then with guilt. He showed up at my door 2 weeks after Ellie's first birthday with a box of baby shoes and a forced smile. "I just want to be her dad," he said. I let him hold her that day, under supervision. Watching him cradle her, awkward and unsure, I felt nothing. No love, no hatred, just silence. Like someone who used to be a chapter in my life, but no longer belonged in the story. He asked for more time. I gave him boundaries. Supervised visits. No overnights. No unscheduled appearances. I told him if he stepped out of line again, emotionally, legally, or otherwise, he'd lose access completely. I wasn't bitter. I was protective. And I had to be both mother and father now. A few months later, Hannah tried again. This time with more than just an apology, she wanted a relationship with Ellie. She sent me an email, long and emotional, saying she'd been going to therapy, that she realized how deeply broken she was, and that she had no family left except me and my daughter. She wrote, "I understand I don't deserve forgiveness, but I hope one day Ellie can know me as more than the woman who hurt her mother. I want to be better. For her. For myself." I stared at that email for hours, reread it 5 times, and for the first time, I didn't feel rage. I felt empathy. But empathy isn't the same as trust. I replied simply, "Healing doesn't guarantee reunion. My focus is Ellie, not rewriting the past to make it easier for you to live with. I hope you continue healing, but from a distance." Around Ellie's 2nd birthday, something changed. Me. I started laughing more, sleeping better, taking selfies again. I enrolled in an online course I'd abandoned during my pregnancy, early childhood education. I began writing blogs anonymously about my journey, letters from a betrayed mother. They took off. Other women wrote back. My pain was their pain. My healing gave them hope. I realized something. The worst thing that ever happened to me didn't break me. It rebuilt me smarter, sharper, and more certain of what I deserve. I met someone at the community library of all places, a gentle soul named Aaron. Divorced. No kids. Teacher. Soft-spoken but kind. He knew about Ellie from day one and never flinched. He never rushed anything. He didn't try to fix me. He just showed up, every single time. One day, after Ellie fell asleep on his chest while we watched old Disney movies, he whispered, "You two feel like home." I didn't say anything back right away. But in that moment, I believed in love again, not the fairy tale kind, but the steady, patient, earned kind. Every year on Ellie's birthday, I write her a letter. Not for now, but for when she's old enough to understand. In her 3rd letter, I wrote, "You were born from pain, but you became my peace. You were the ending of one life and the beginning of another. One day, you'll learn that not everyone who says, 'I love you,' means it, and not everyone who means it will say it out loud. But I'll spend my life showing you the difference." Now, Ellie's almost 4. She knows her dad, but she also knows her mom is the one who kissed her forehead during nightmares, packed her lunch with heart-shaped sandwiches, and danced with her in the kitchen on rainy days. Hannah eventually stopped trying. Maybe one day she'll have her redemption arc, but I no longer wait for it. Mark visits sometimes, but Ellie knows who her constant is. And me? I'm not broken anymore. I'm wiser. I'm wounded but walking. I'm the storm and the shelter, and I became that because life gave me no other choice. Because I was pregnant with his baby, but he was sleeping with my sister, and I turned that betrayal into my rebirth.